All right, welcome back. We are here with our final presentation of the day before we close things out. We've got Fabian Hernandez here with the Art Institutes. He's going to give you the lowdown on everything Art Institute based. Again, remember, ask any questions you might have through Facebook, through Instagram, through Twitter, on Snapchat. All of our social media channels are open right now. We're waiting for your guys' questions. During the presentation, feel free to send them our way. If you guys forget anything or you have questions at a later date, you'll have the contact information. You can look it up through the website, so that way you can get in touch with the people who can answer those questions. But again, Fabian, thank you very much for being here. And we're
Thanks
glad
for
to have
having
you.
me. Thank you, guys. Hopefully we have a pretty fun presentation for you. So,
All right. Well, we will jump right into it and get started.
perfect. All right. So the Art Institute of Phoenix, we're a system of schools located across North America. We also have a location in Canada, so Vancouver is definitely a spot to go visit if you ever have the time. But we're actually located right off I-17 and Dunlap. So if you're very familiar with Castles and Coasters, we're right down the street. Or if you ever gone on the light rail, we're actually the very last stop. So yeah, our students actually have the opportunity to go downtown, go to Phoenix Art Museum, get involved with the community. So that's pretty cool. So the area of studies that we actually offer, they're all creative careers. So for example, graphic design is one of them, fashion design, interior design, culinary, media arts and animation, gaming and technology, film and production, visual effects and motion graphics, and marketing and advertising. And the list goes on and on. A lot of our campuses offer other programs that we don't. So if you ever go to our website, you'll have the opportunity to kind of explore different schools that we have in North America. So, so we're gonna go actually to graphic design. So visual design, and then go to graphic and web design. So graphic design, it's a visual communication. So basically this is where graphic designers have the opportunity to learn how to market a brand. So if you ever see, different types of logos out there, graphic design is found everywhere, like your phones, like your books, posters, and movies. So it's a visual communication. So they're trying to persuade you into buying something or planting a seed of a thought. So as you can see here, this is they normally use Photoshop and Illustrator to get these. Well, this is an interesting one. So for example, like business cards, right? So business cards, like I said, it's market to market the brand, but it's also used to as an art medium. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about marketing a brand, but to kind of provoke an emotion, a thought, or a meaning. We also have packaging design. So our students have the opportunity to kind of learn how to design packaging, and then also corporate identity. So corporate identity is a very common industry that they go into. For example, like advertising agencies, creative agencies, to kind of help businesses market what they're selling and their brand. So they're the ones that are responsible for the website, for all the stationery designs, for example, like business cards, headers, all the logos, packaging design, like we said before, and then folders if they need them. But they also are the ones that are responsible for having that portfolio done for them. So the internet, I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit on web design. So web design is a very big industry that graphic designers go for because, as we are all familiar with, the internet is definitely a huge avenue for businesses to not only market themselves locally, but it allows them to get into the global economy as well. So web designers and graphic designers definitely go for those kind of industries. Interactive design is definitely something that they can learn. So a really good example that I like to throw out is Apple. So Apple, a lot of people like to buy Apple phones because they're so user-friendly. The design is beautiful, it's aesthetically pleasing, and it's easy to use. So interactive design definitely is something that they'll learn where the design interacts with the consumer and keep their attention, basically. So our next one is going to be typography. So a lot of our students have the ability to learn a little bit more in depth about Adobe Illustrator. So Illustrator is definitely something that is used for logos, screen printing for t-shirt designs and stuff like that. And then our next area of study that we're going to go into is interior design, something that we definitely offer. So interior design is basically the study of creating living space. You can do it, commercial, institutional, like offices and hospitals. Like for example, this is a good example of what the portfolio has. So when they're pitching an idea to a client, they have to do a 3D model and pretty much show them what it is before they actually build it. But it's not necessarily about decorating a room, get that feng shui out, but they also have the opportunity to learn how to make the floor plans. So they work closely with architects. They use Illustrator to kind of get these floor plans. And then this is a really good example of what it looks like when they're sketching the actual space.
So you can see how the chairs come into play, how the lighting fixtures look, how much space everything takes up.
Yep.
So you've got everything under control right there.
Exactly. So one of my favorite pictures that I have here is probably the commercial. And then this kind of plays out with, what types of food corresponds with the environment. So for example, this is the floor plan for that picture that I was showing you. So they got to put in consideration like where everything's going to go. And then at the end, kind of make it feel like you're, in Mexico eating in a saloon, in a time of, the cowboy era.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So I have to put in consideration a lot of what the moods and the environment's going to feel like. Also, a lot of the, here's some portfolios. So what's really cool is that at the Art Institute, whether you're, graphic designer, interior fashion, anything that has to do with design, you start learning how to create a portfolio, because a portfolio is basically your in for a job, basically. So it's really cool to see also like the progress from when you first start all the way down to when you graduate. And the Art Institute also has portfolio reviews for students so they can get feedback from others, bounce ideas from potential employers, and networking. So what's really cool is that when you first start in the school, you're already starting to build that connection with other people that have common interest as you. So once you graduate, you already have someone already in the industry, in different industries. Like for example, graphic designers like to collaborate a lot with photography majors. So right after they graduate, they might pair up sometime, or even like animators and video game artists.
So are there projects that cross different degrees while you're in school? So if you're if you're an interior design major, you might have to work with the photographers who are taking pictures, or you might have to work with other people who are there while you're completing a project for school.
Yeah. So check this out. So we actually have a film and production major. So I want to show you actually animation and effects. We have visual effects and motion graphics. So these guys, visual effects artists are the ones that do everything post-production. So a lot of our students have the opportunity to work with film students to kind of get that project done.
Okay.
So I wanted to show you, we actually have green screens in our school. So where is it at? It's somewhere in here. I'll show you guys. So our green screens is definitely a space that everyone uses. Photography majors, all the film students, graphic designers like to use this just because you can edit different settings in the environment. So it's pretty cool. I really like this picture right here because it kind of shows you the patience. Oop, what happened to it? So the patience. So the way I see it is when it comes to creative field, in any field really, is you got to have the patience for your craft. You have to have the patience for what you love. You have to really have the motivation and the passion. So this young gentleman right here, went, above and beyond to get so much detail in one drawing that, it kind of illustrates what a creative career could be.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. So I just wanted to show you that for visual effects and motion graphics. So a little bit about animation though. This is one of our popular, oops, I don't know why I did that. One of our popular career opportunities here. So 2D and 3D animation. So in this field, basically what our students have the opportunity to learn is the process on how to make an awesome animation. So from life drawing. So life drawing is definitely an essential and fundamental of design that they need to learn to actually get the characters, drawn correctly, and then they have to know how to how the body works and how it bends when it, how the muscles look when they bend and how when they flex, And then after that, they get to go into a little bit more in depth in the drawings. So for example, storyboarding. So like this student actually went to our school and they use Maya. Okay. So it's a 3D design software that they use. And basically this is the end product. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. And I call these wireframes. I don't know if I'm truly correct on that. Don't quote me on it. But they use these wireframes and they maneuver them so they can get these curved edges.
Yeah.
And then after that, they start adding a little bit more detail, the shadowing, and then, the color.
The finished product, yep.
Exactly. So they have the opportunity to learn all that. Something that a lot of people don't realize, and I ask students when I'm doing these presentations, is that what makes Pixar movies so successful, or Disney movies so successful, besides the animation? And it's the story. So the story is the backbone of the actual film. So our students have the opportunity to learn these storyboards. So this is where everything's going to pan out as far as like laying out the story and what scenes are going to be played out, with the camera. Here you can see zoom in. This means zooming in, and how the camera is going to play out. What else? I wanted to show, do we have time for an animation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So I show this to the students a lot. I believe it's this one. It's a short one, but it's fun. So once they learn how to do all the sketching and everything like that, they can compile that information into the animation and get this. So it's cool to see, that animation kind of brings those phones to life, give it a little bit of personality, and it's really cool to see. This is what kind of like a rough sketch looks like when, before they even add all the details. I don't know how long this is, but yeah, that's one of them. Another area of study that we offer at our school is gaming and technology. So our students have the ability to create video games. This is part of a concept drawing for a video game. I think this is World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yep. So our students have the ability to create these awesome, intricate designs on these characters and learn how the physics work in a virtual reality kind of deal. So there's a lot of science and math involved just because you have to know the laws of physics too. So, the video game, won't glitch out.
Yep.
So here's a really cool remake.
Yep.
So another one that I really like is the environments that they create. So like, for example, this one. And then this is what it looks like before the textures applied.
Yeah, your cathedral, church type looking building.
And then, bam. That looks really cool.
Yep.
So yeah, so they use software like 3ds Max and Maya to kind of get all these down, and that's pretty cool to see. So like I said, there's a lot of science involved. So you're the architect.
Yeah.
So you got to know it all.
So we do have quite a few artistic students here at Primavera. So guys, if this is something that you're interested in, definitely continue looking at it, because there is a lot of interesting technology that goes into all the stuff that you see that's been created in front of you during this presentation.
Yep. So another area of study that we have is fashion, fashion marketing and fashion design. So fashion design is obviously, the design of the garment itself. So these students have to do a lot of research on, the trends that are coming up, who their target market is going to be. Because, I mean, you imagine an 80-year-old man wearing this. I'm sure he would be. I mean, that's probably how we're going to look, in 70 years, but we got to make it look good, though. So you do a lot of research on all this. So here's another one, target market. And these are part of students' portfolios, so you can see how nicely they're laid out. This definitely is something that will get them a job for sure.
So the students' portfolio here at the Art Institutes would basically be like their resume going to a big business or something like that once they get done with college.
Exactly. So here is a really good example of a graduation show. So not only do they do portfolio reviews, but also show off their design. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So fashion designers have the opportunity to get in these kind of events. Like, for example, last week was Fashion Week over at the Talking Stick Resort, and some of our students had the opportunity to open Fashion Week for the actual designers. Awesome. So they got to show off all their, they did male wear this time, so male clothing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that it's all about dresses, but there's male clothing out there too. So
some of the students here locally got to go ahead and present themselves in front of some of probably the most popular designers in the world.
Exactly. So it's really cool to get your name out there, build that network. It's gonna benefit you in the long run. And I tell the students too, like when it comes to going to school, whether you're going to here at the Art Institute or you go to a traditional school like a university, make sure to introduce yourselves to your teachers, just because they're going to be the ones mentoring you to basically so you can be successful. So they're going to be your teachers. Obviously, they're there for you. So make sure you reach out, introduce yourselves, build that connection with them, because it's going to help you out in the long run, especially in the creative field.
Yeah.
Something that I definitely learned. These are illustration boards. They use Illustrator to kind of illustrate their concept. And then this is pattern making. So before they print out their garments, they have to design how the actual garment's going to look like before the design is actually applied. This is what it looks like right here when they cut it out and they print it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fashion marketers are the ones that deal with all the business side of fashion design. So they're the ones that do all the visual merchandising. So this is part of a portfolio for visual merchandising. They're the ones that put together fashion shows, runway shows. And our students have the opportunity to go with our fashion director to Vegas for a trade show. So that's pretty cool. And then culinary. So I don't know if there's a lot of you that like to cook, but our culinary program is definitely something that is very popular. I'm already getting hungry just by looking at this. But our culinary program is you get to learn up to 20 cuisines, so international cuisines too. So it's not just just in the U.S.
Yeah.
There was one that was sushi, and I think it's a good thing that I can't find it because I might make you guys hungry. But yeah, there's culinary management as well. So there's different types of techniques. These are one of our kitchens that we have. So they're industrial kitchens, and you have your own space, but you get to work with all your colleagues. We also have pastry and baking. So if you like to bake cakes, that's on our second floor of the kitchen, and I try to stay away from it just because it always smells like cake. So yeah, there's different types of cutting techniques. I didn't even know that. So yeah, Now, we do have a restaurant in our school. It's a student-run kitchen, basically, restaurant, I mean. So this gives them the opportunity to kind of get that real-world experience and how to run a restaurant. And I can't really find it here, guys, but they get to basically, show off all their work, and we get to try it, and they get that experience too. So
Definitely.
that's pretty cool. And then they also have the opportunity to study abroad. So they get to go to Italy for, I believe, six weeks, and
Learn all the Italian.
Exactly, and bring it back home and give it to us. So yeah, that's those are the programs that we offer. Let me see if there's another one that we have. So marketing and advertising, I mean, they go hand in hand. But basically, this is kind of like with graphic design, but a little bit different. This is more towards the business side. So they get all the projects from the graphic designers and they pitch it to the clients. But I also wanted to show you guys everything as far as like scholarship opportunities. So we have scholarship opportunities for those who qualify. So when you come to the Art Institute, you meet our admissions reps. They'll sit down with you, go over everything as far as what you want to do. Doesn't necessarily have to be about a creative field, but they'll sit down with you and discuss everything you need to talk about in order for you to figure out what you want to do. And then if you decide to go to the Art Institute, then you have the opportunity to meet with a financial aid planner, and they'll sit with you, go over the scholarship opportunities, and then the financial aid opportunities for those who qualify. And then we also have an art grant that we offer for students, so that gives you the opportunity to save some money. So school's not free. It's not cheap either. So when it comes to college, you got to hunt for that money, that free money.
Definitely.
So if you guys have any time on a Saturday, I know we have an open house coming up on the 22nd, so that's this Saturday. We have an open house, so if you guys want to jot that
Perfect.
Website down, aiopen.com, and then if you guys want to go to our website, not my website, our website, artinstitutes.edu/Phoenix, you can see a lot more cool stuff.
Perfect. So guys, just take a minute, go ahead and copy those websites down. Make sure you have that information. And again, if you are interested, stop by the open house. If you have the time, you said 22nd, stop by, check out aiopen.com. That way you know when you can stop by, what kind of stuff they have going on. We had, early in the morning, one of our presenters said, hey, just go check out some schools that are around you in the area. The Art Institutes is probably close to a lot of you guys on the west side of town, down by, like I said, Castles and Coasters. Just make a day of it. Go to Castles and Coasters and hit the Art Institutes before that, or do it in reverse order or something. But make sure you guys are checking out all of the options that you have available, because once you see it in person, it gets a little bit more of a good feel inside for you when you're checking out colleges. So take a second, get these two websites down, aiopen.com, so you know when the open houses are going to be happening, as well as artinstitutes.edu.
/Phoenix.
Yeah, /Phoenix, so that way you're not looking at the school in Ontario unless you really want to go to Canada. So take a couple seconds and jot those down, and we'll go to the questions here in just a moment. All right, and we are back. We've got a couple questions that have been asked through Facebook for our presenter. Now, Fabian, we had a student who asked, are students at the Art Institute able to double major in certain classes? So if they're really interested in a couple different things, let's say the fashion design really gets them, but they also want to try and get the marketing side of things as well, so they can market their own stuff. Are they able to go ahead and pull that double major while they're at school?
That's a great question. So I get this question a lot. I've experienced when students want a double major, there's a lot of workload that's just going to be compiled. Fashion design, when it comes to these kind of fields, there's a lot of work involved. You can definitely double major, but it's going to take you a little bit longer. But what they do is they major one thing at a time. So they finish fashion design if you're interested, and then they go into fashion marketing right after. But when it comes to fashion design, There are going to be some classes where you'll learn a little bit of the marketing side as well. So
Okay. Now, do you have a lot of students who choose to go ahead and get a degree in one field and then get a second degree in a similar field, or get their associates while they're getting their bachelor's? Are there a lot of students that try and take that route too, so they get it all out of the way at once?
I haven't experienced that. All I've experienced is that they do it one at a time.
Okay.
So just because the workflow is going to be very heavy for one part, so when it comes to college, there's going to be a lot of work. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself in too much work when it comes to double majoring, because it's going to be overwhelming, that's for sure. So
now, as far as the courses and the options that are available here at the Phoenix campus, what is the most commonly attended one? What is the one that everybody seems to be getting into the Phoenix campus for? Like, what do you guys
like the popular,
the most popular one? Yeah. Like,
that's a good question actually too. One of my coworkers, actually, he's an admissions rep, and he asked me the exact same thing, like, what are the students really excited for? And I was telling him that graphic design is a big one, culinary, media arts and animation, and game design. Those are going to be the biggest ones. And when I told him that, he was like, yeah, actually, that is very true. A lot of our students go for those programs.
All right, so students, if you're looking for that culinary experience, or you're looking for game design or animation or anything like that, definitely seems like it would be a good option.
Yeah.
That's all the questions we have right now through Facebook and the social media platforms. But again, if you have more questions, feel free to ask them. We can always get them to Fabian. We can always send him your information, so that way he can reach out to you. Or if you need to, call in, email in. Make sure you have the contact information from the website so you can get in contact with them. But definitely pleasure to have you here. We look forward to seeing some students end up going your way.
Thank you, guys.
Artistically inclined students, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes to close things down for the day, so make sure you stay tuned.